Hello, welcome back to the channel. I'm Todd Roderick, and I'm the Confused Wanderer. Today, we're going to go over the second density. If you haven't seen my first video covering first density and the basics of the raw channeling, look down in the description box, and I'll have a link to that first video because it's important to get the foundation of this information. I'm also going to do a little recap of first density here before we jump into second density. Let me recap first density. So in first density, the planet starts in complete stillness. Nothing's going on the surface of the planet. So eventually light comes in to illuminate the darkness. And the entities on the surface of the planet at the time of first density are mineral life and water life. And through the interaction with air and fire, that mineral and water life begins to gain experience through first random change and chaos. And eventually, through that random change and chaos, slowly order is created. And as this order is created with the mineral life and the water life, then that creates an environment where viable life, plant and animal life, can begin to form. One thing I wanted to bring up before we move forward into me explaining second density is I understand that this material is a little tedious at the beginning, and for some it could be a little boring, and I'm a little measured as I'm explaining this material. I'm trying to explain it in the clearest way possible and simplifying it as much as I can. But I'm confident that after I'm done with explaining the sort of the foundation of life and the beginnings of evolution of a spiritual being as is born into first density and moves through second. Once we get to third, once I start to explain third density and we get deeper into third density is where all the good stuff happens, all the exciting stuff happens, especially since we're living in third density now. And there's a lot of complexities and a lot of really cool stuff that we're going to go into. But first, I've got to get through what some, I guess, could consider the boring stuff. And even for me, it's a bit tedious to go through, and also trying to give it to you in the simplest, clearest way that I possibly can without bringing in too many what I would consider extraneous sort of complexities. And so, you're not seeing a whole lot of my personality, and my voice and the way that I deliver it is fairly measured because trying to give it to you simply and clearly. You may even feel like that you just want to skip through this part for now, but I'm confident that as I get further into this material, maybe you even come to this channel and I've already gone over a lot of third density and we're starting to move in to, more exciting stuff. I'm confident that you'll go back and want to go over this beginning material, the evolutionary process to understand where we are on this planet at this time in third density. It's good to know where we've come from and how we've gotten to where we are. And with that being said, as we get further into this might even turn into somewhat of a drama channel. So stick with me, come along for the ride, and let me build this foundation for you of understanding of the evolutionary process according to Ra. And then that's going to be the springboard to get into the juicy stuff. This episode today is brought to you by Fusion Body Studio. If you're watching this show today, you're obviously into spirituality. But if you're not exercising, you're not on the right path because spirituality starts in the body. Fusion Body Studio is female owned and operated. And at Fusion Body Studio, they take all the traditional teachings of the East and merge it into modern day exercises. Right now, Fusion Body Studio is running a special. If you use promo code AYA20, you'll get 20% off your first 6 months at Fusion Body Studio. With tuition already cheap, this is a deal you can't pass up. All information is in the description box below. Okay, now let's get into second density. So in first density, remember I said that the main goal of first density is for the beings, the minerals, and the water to gain a certain level of just basic consciousness. And now in second density, the entities are working on self-consciousness, the consciousness of self. There are three main types of second density beings. The first of which is animal life. Second is plant life. Now, another more rare type is mineral life that has evolved to a point of becoming second density. And that what usually involves mineral life becoming second density is a piece of land that's been cared for by third density beings, that's been given a lot of attention and a lot of focus. You could even say a temple made of stone. And it's a place where it's been cared for by third density beings and shown a lot of care and love over an extended period of time. And that actual structure or the whole piece of land that that structure is on can start to gain self-awareness. Even though it can't move, it still can gain that self-awareness and that experience through the attention that higher level third density beings give. And so as plants and animals start to gain enough self-consciousness to evolve to third density. And the main purpose of second density is for the plants and animals to gain enough experience, enough self-awareness to eventually move to a higher level of experience. The one thing that second density beings lack that make them fundamentally different is second density beings lack the upward drive towards the infinite. And that's what starts to pull them into the third density experience. So as well as that long period of time that goes by, another way that second density beings could be pulled along their path at a little faster of a rate is when third density beings start to take care of second density beings, like here, like with our pets. The more attention and love that we give our pets, the more they start to inherit our third density qualities, the more they start to gain a level of self-awareness. And that helps those second density beings move a lot faster. It amplifies their evolutionary process. And so first density, second density, third density all exist together at this point. There was a time where we were separate. First density happens in seclusion. There's no second density beings on the planet. There's no third density beings on the planet during first density cycle. So there's nothing to really potentiate the first density cycle. Second density starts, and at the beginning of that second density cycle, there's no higher life forms on the planet. And so that evolutionary cycle happens very slowly. But eventually, as the planet moves into third density, then we have a mix. First density, second density, and also third density starts. And as third density progresses, our attention and care and love for both first and second density help to potentiate the first and second density beings' evolution. So something else that I haven't gone over yet and for second density is the mind-body spirit complex. Now in first density, the beings of first density only have the mind-body complex, and then they'll shift into second density once they gain a foundational level of consciousness. And then the main purpose of the evolution of second density is for the being to eventually, through enough experience, to start to gain the spirit complex. And so towards the end of a being's evolutionary process in second density, they eventually gain the mind, body, and then spirit complex. And once that spirit complex is gained through experience, then they have all of their energy centers. And once they have all of their energy centers, then that being is ready to then graduate or start to move into their third density experience. So, and once they gain the mind, body, spirit, or the spirit complex, then they have enough self-awareness to then move into the third density experience. And that is going to be the next chapter in this series, is to start to move into third density. And that's going to take quite some time to fully go over because there's so much complexity within the third density experience. You know, basically first density, second density, it's pretty simple and straightforward. So once we get into third, like I said, there's a lot of complexities to it. And the complexity comes from the spirit complex being added in. Once a being has all its energy centers, then it's starting to And so once a being has traveled through first and second density and gained all of its energy centers, and it's become a complete mind body spirit complex, then the being starts to move into the third density. Now they can start to use free will choice. And with free will choice comes third density. And that brings my episode on second density to a close. I hope you'll join me for further episodes. And if you will, please like and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell for notifications so you can be informed when I post new videos. So thanks again for joining me. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below.